Welcome to Key Track Music Reviews, a channel dedicated to brand new music and the listening experience. Today we're going to go over the album Back Home by Big Joanie. But before we start, you should know that there are two other reviews in the works right now, Arctic Monkeys' The Car, and another album I can't pronounce by Christine and the Queens, which is really awesome. So if you want to be kept in the loop about those, please subscribe. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Moving on, Big Joanie is a trio from London formed by Stephanie Phillips in 2013. This is their first full-length album, Back Home, and they are self-described as a black feminist punk band who combine the fury of 90s Riot Girl with synth-heavy post-punk. Looking at the cover, I love it. It looks like a piece of silk with embroidery on it, showing a boy getting his hair cut. It reminds me of folk art. I love that kind of stuff. It's really cool. Handmade. I like that it looks handmade. And this probably looks even better on the 12-inch LP cover. In total, there's 13 tracks for a runtime of 44 minutes. For anybody who's interested, I also included the dynamic range information there and the ratings. The album was released November 4th, 2022 by Daydream Library Series and Kill Rock Stars. Recorded at Heritage Works Studios, produced and mixed by Margot Broom, and mastered by Amy Dragon. Something not mentioned though is who did all the synth work, because there's a lot of synth on here. Sometimes it's the majority of the song, and the credit is not given on the band's website or in the CD liner notes. And I didn't do a lot of exploring online, but I did check out a couple videos, and they don't seem to play, Big Joanie doesn't seem to play live with the synth. They have the more classic traditional punk approach with just guitar, bass, and real drums. I listened to the CD start to finish, and I'm going to go over some of the notes and some of the keywords from that experience, and then I'm going to give you the two key tracks and go into those in depth. So the album has a very unexpected start in 6/8 time, which is probably pretty strange for punk music, probably even stranger for the very first track. But anyways, it definitely gets your attention. Some keywords that popped out to me going to track 5 had a very cinematic feel. There's synth, there's acoustic guitar, it's got a good driving beat. Number 6, track 6 had a trance-like feel to it. There was maybe some multi-tracking of the cymbals, which was a strange but pretty nice effect. No hi-hats. There's either the steady drum beat or digital drum sounds. Track 8 is pretty heavy. It's definitely the heaviest on the album. And then track 10, this is an interesting one because I wrote down it's pretty boring, right? But pretty boring until there's a key change that I don't think the other songs have. There was oohs and ahs. There was great guitar tones. I wrote down rockabilly. It reminded me a little bit of that. But it was missing something that I wanted as I'm listening, and that was actually achieved in one of the key tracks. So they also had organ sounds in there, great bass lines. But I think the punk term is misleading here, at least with my classic understanding of punk music. My main punk influence would be The Offspring, but recently, over the past few years, it's been Bad Religion. So with that kind of music, you're getting distorted guitars, you're getting really fast drums, and you're getting these firecracker lyrics that make you generally want to say, like, F the man, let's wreck this twisted system. But that's not so much the case with this punk album. Having said that, the only weak point for me that I could pick out were some of the vocals, which I think they suit the music, but for my taste, they sounded a little bit nasally and held back. It's not projecting type of singing. It's more of I don't even know if chest voice is a word, but it kind of sounds like a chest or a head voice. And I really wouldn't have minded some anger, some emotion, some angst or some fury. I kept waiting for the fury, and unfortunately it didn't really deliver on that. Musically it's good. Simple music, engaging with lots of sonic surprises, great mixing. The vocals are prominent in the mix, but they're never too forward. They're not really shouty. The synth sounds sometimes pop out with extra volume as a surprise, but I like that. I didn't think that was a bad thing. At its core, I think this is a love and loss album that also touches on themes of identity, self-worth, and self-assessment. So now let's get to the key tracks. Track 3, Confident Man. Musically, this is a very sparse song. There's some clean guitar over a synth that dominates most of the track. But I chose it because it's the only one with any lyrical content that I thought had a punk approach to it, a punk soul, and some sort of social commentary. So I'm going to go over the lyrics real quick, and I've eliminated the repetition, so it'll just be line after line. Here we go. I could be a confident man too, smile and wave. Am I pretty enough for you yet? Existing to be pretty on the internet. Don't make waves to be pretty enough for you yet. Existing to be pretty on the internet. I only want to be a more confident me. And in essence, from the earlier tracks, I think it's talking about success and music and how it's easier to make it if you're a confident man, because that's fine enough. You don't have to be beautiful. Oftentimes, as we know, as it's been proven in rock and pop music, artists themselves don't even really need to be not only that good, but sometimes even actually able to play their instruments. But they look good, they're given the team, they're given the makeup, and they're a star. And I like the last line the best here. I only want to be a more confident me. And I don't think that's too much to ask for, and I think most punks would agree. They only want to be a better version of themselves. They don't want to be anybody else. They're rebelling against everybody else and everything that they think is wrong. So, key track 1. Key track number 2, the last track, Sainted. I think this one rises above the others with the synth melodies and the singable, memorable lyrics. Now, I listened to the song about 5 times, and then I started to think, man, is this song really repetitive? But the next day I was at work listening to classic rock radio, and every single song that I heard had so much repetition, and I thought, well, this is no different. That's just how it goes. It has the best vocal performance. It has hand claps, thunderclaps, and it has those clean guitar chords that I was looking for in track 10. So there is this sort of synth jam that's happening, and I kept on wanting this clean chord to just come over and like kind of ride the wave on top of it. And it didn't happen in track 10, but it happened in Sainted, the last track. And yeah, I smiled at that. That was definitely a great moment because it really brought it all back together. And in terms of the lyrics, I think there's some hidden meaning in this song too. With a name like Sainted, it kind of conjures up images of holiness and devotion and faith. But the lyrics to me suggest that sainted is being used in an ironic sense to describe some type of unhealthy love or abnormal relationship that really isn't fulfilling. So again, I'll read the lyrics without any repetition. After the rain falls, you only want me on your own. I don't walk the way you walk. I can't follow half your thoughts. There's nowhere to fall but the floor. After the rain falls. You've been talking for an hour or more, feeling out the corners of your room. It's sainted. After the rain falls. I've been sainted with a kiss. Oh, I've been missed. Oh, I've been missed. After the rain falls. So especially the "oh, I've been missed," it sounds very sarcastic. It sounds dysfunctional. Maybe I'm wrong. You guys can tell me what you think. But here's what I hear in the mix in terms of the music. So there's this warm synth prelude that fills the soundstage edge to edge, right? So looking at the speakers, you hear it in your ears. The sound is this wide. So it's got the warm synth prelude. There's some vinyl record crackle overlaid on top of that. 20 seconds, tom-toms come in deep in the center there, kind of setting up the tension. Tom-toms start early and they set up the tension that breaks at the 20-second mark. You get the 4 on the floor, kick drum, snare cracks. The laid-back vocals blend really nice with the driving beat. The backing vocals come through, left channel, right channel. The guitar leads the synth into the chorus melody and then has a chord strumming solo on top of that. The thunder rolls in, song wraps up, and when the thunder rolls, it's side to side, it's deep back there in the mix. Very, very high enjoyment factor. I would have liked maybe a jam at the end or more instrumental breaks. I basically don't want the song to end. I want it to keep on going with more music, and it delivers. But sometimes I like the proggy 12-minute songs. This obviously isn't a prog album, and they'd probably never make a 12-minute song. But if this was 12 minutes, I wouldn't mind. So if you're looking for a true punk experience, I don't think this is it. But if you're looking for something from a new band that's up and coming, I think it's worth a listen. I think there's a lot of small things on the album to appreciate, and I think the key tracks summarize the musical style and experience that you're going to get through the rest of the album. So I hope you've enjoyed this review. Until next time, this is Alex for T-Track Music Reviews saying thank you for watching, and please subscribe if you know what's good for you. Thank you.